Tom Little still to come on the show a little bit later. ROMZ is now on with this. Big Liverpool fan. What are you saying, ROMZ?
Thank you, Terry, for having me. My head's just hot right now. Supposed to go out late. I don't even think I'm going out now. But first of all, I just want to say that was a brilliant performance from Fulham. You have to give credit when credit's due. But Liverpool fans have this thing. Klopp normally slowly integrates his forward, especially when we first banned him into system. But riding off the back of that goal against Man City, play Nunez. I was screaming it before the game. Play Nunez. He's already high on confidence, and he gives the opposition something different to think about. And I also want to big up Paulina because Paulina, I think that's how you pronounce it, because he was just on. Bobby didn't have no freedom at all. Every time Bobby was trying to drop back in, play the false nine, like you alluded to earlier, Paulina was just on him. And it's a bit, Diaz had a good chance, but it's a bit naive of Diaz to not keep running at Tete. If you're on a yellow, just keep running at him. And we naturally play narrow under Klopp. We know this. Wings always play narrow, but also Salah and Nunez should have hugged the touchline to create space in the middle. We are very naive that first half. Fulham were first game of the season back in the Prem. They were just up for it. They wasn't giving us no breathing space as they should. But draws are like deaths. And I know it's early in the season. I understand that. And people that are writing us off already, I think that's a bit crazy. What I will say though, with the Thiago injury now, it will be very naive not to go. We already knew we needed a midfielder before this game, but it would be very naive not to now go in for a midfielder. But I also want to be like Harvey Elliott. When he came on, always forward thinking, he looked bright. Thiago coming off, Harvey Elliott bright, Carvalho coming on also looked very bright as well. But Diaz had, other than him hitting the post / crossbar, whatever you want to call it, Diaz had one of his more quiet games. And Jordan Henderson first half, I'm not really one that likes to criticize him too much. We do know we need an upgrade on him, but his ball retention and Trent, again, agendas are going to run. Rival fans are going to have a field day. Back at it, Trent can't defend, blah, blah, blah. That's fine. But your right back was class at it, Terry. Gary Neville, just put him off. Just check your mirrors as he's coming in. I know Mitrovic is a big lad, but do something. You can't just let him maraud over you and get that header in. I think our fullbacks weren't the greatest today. Dijk, I know Liverpool fans are going. But this is what football fans are like. We're very impulsive. You're gonna get very rash expressions right now. We're all very upset. But Van Dijk, he rarely does that. That'll probably happen one or twice in a whole season. But it feels like a loss, Terry, especially knowing who we're up against. We've lost the title by 1 point by them. These are the games you look, even though it's first of the season, these are the games that you look at and think, yeah, like it could have a big say in the season. But like you alluded to earlier, I'm just quite fortunate we've come away with a point. Of course, we wanted to win, but in the context of things, you could argue we didn't even deserve to win. To draw, sorry.
No, listen, I completely understand that, ROMZ. You make a really good point, and I think some of your players will look back at this game. I mean, I was just reading the statistic there while you were talking because you kind of tempted me to. Trent Alexander-Arnold lost possession 38 times today. Now, I want to put that into context. Bruno Fernandes is called shit because he loses it 18 times per game. Trent lost it 20 more times today than the average of Bruno Fernandes. 20 times more than Bruno's average per game. In fairness, it's 14 times more than Trent's average. He normally averages around 20, sort of 20 to 24 times. He had an awful game, as it were. And I think defensively at the back post, people always go too far. When I say he should put his head in, of course, there's always a risk if he puts his head in that a bad head injury happens. But how often in football those bad head injuries happen? We've seen 2 or 3 in the Premier League in the last 30 years. So you expect
I can only remember Jimenez check, but there's not really been quite a lot.
Check wasn't a header. You literally Ryan Mason and Jimenez are the two. The point is, like, it's so unlikely to happen. He should be putting his body on the line a bit more. But for me, it was weak, and it was, you could have prevented that goal. If you'd have put a bit of muscle into Mitrovic and put him off, he might have headed the ball over.
Exactly.
He might have taken something a bit away. And then to give the ball away that much is astronomically poor for a player of his quality. This guy is so technically proficient. To lose the ball that much from Trent Alexander-Arnold is absolutely crazy. It really, really is. But I mean, how are you feeling about the season, though? Because a lot of people are like, if we don't buy more midfielders, we're done in terms of title challenge. Where's your head at after watching that game?
after watching that, before, like I alluded to earlier, Terry, before the game, we needed a midfielder, but now Thiago, he always gets that annual injury. I did not think it would be for the first game of the season, but now, honestly, I don't think we'll win the league. We can win the league, but as it stands, especially after that game, I don't think we will win the league. But we need that combative 8, that's also a goal scoring 8, because our midfield, right, bar Jones, is very injury prone. Like, a lot of Liverpool fans don't actually deep it. Is very Fabinho gets the odd 3-4 games he misses, the odd month a season. Thiago, Keita, and Ox, we don't even have to touch on. Jones wasn't injury prone, but Reece, I know last season he had the eye injury, he also had COVID, but now he's coming to the season injured. Like, we need a midfielder. And another thing I will address as well, Terry, for us to properly go for this league, we do need another right forward. Even though Carvalho and Elliott will be deployed there, I was one of the fans saying, well, Salah, he never really gets injured, looks after himself, he's a specimen, he's a great athlete, he rarely gets injured. But if we had thought like that with Van Dijk, oh, he's never got injured, so let's not buy more centre backs. Like, we probably wouldn't have been in a situation we were in 2021. So I actually now accept, even though they'll hardly play, we do also need a right forward just to compete with Salah. But it's hard knowing coming to Liverpool that you're hardly going to play, especially being a top player. But for me, Terry, we need another right forward and we need an 8/10. And I think we can have a real go. But as it stands, Terry, I do think we'll finish second. I'm not buying into this. We'll potentially drop into third and Spurs replace us. But as it stands, Terry, we're going to be the first to lose again, and I can't take it. I can't take it, honestly.
Listen, I appreciate your point of view. You make a lot of sense. Great call, my friend. Great energy. Well articulated. We'll chat again soon, my guy. All the best, brother.
Thank you for having me,
Thank you. Not a problem at all. Not a problem.